Hello again, and welcome back to Illegally Cited. This is Jesse here, and I am back for another channel update video, as well as a little bit of news on a couple of game accessibility topics here. A couple of announcements that we've had in the last couple of days. Very excited for. So, without more delay, let's dive right into it. Before I go any further, again, I just want to thank everybody who has been supporting the channel for, whether you've been supporting it for 10 days or 10 years now, because yeah, the channel is over 10 years old now. It's really hard to believe even for me. But yeah, and it's not going to slow down. There's still stuff coming on a regular basis. I typically unlock videos every Monday, Wednesday, and Saturday. Mondays are stream archives from Twitch, twitch.tv/illegally cited. And then Wednesdays and Saturdays are everything else. And if you want to know what kind of videos, if you're new to the channel and want to know what other types of videos I do on here, everything is divided into playlists. So go ahead and check out the playlists tab. We have everything from low vision spotlight videos, so games that I play as a legally blind gamer with my usable vision, iOS and PC accessible games for totally blind players, hardware reviews, assistive technology videos, virtual reality, accessibility, VR games, VR experiences, all kinds of stuff. A few Let's Plays here and there, some Geek Loot spotlight videos, just kind of some cool nerdy stuff I've collected over the years. There's some great stuff in there. But yeah, hopefully you find something of interest to you in one of those areas. So yeah, the channel is definitely keeping busy, and like I said, thank you to everybody who has been liking and viewing the videos, and I've gotten a couple good recommendations of games through Twitter and through the comments section for some of the videos. I try to reply when I can and answer questions that people have. But yeah, and I just looked before recording this video. Looks like we are sitting at right around 3,300 and what was it, 77, I think, subscribers. So, it's still small compared to a lot of channels out there. But you know what? Like I said, I didn't think the channel would last 10 years, let alone be doing as well as it is. So I'm totally cool with that. Again, thank you to everybody for that. On to the channel update. Before I talk about the channel, I did mention Twitch already, and I'll just reiterate it here again. You can follow me on Twitch. Until recently, I have been trying to stream fairly regularly, usually Fridays or Saturdays in the evening. But in what was it, mid-June-ish, I did announce that I'm going to be cutting back and not doing regular streams every weekend on Twitch, just because, I have so many other things going on, so many other projects, my day job, videos and other projects and just other things that I want to do in general. So, there's just times where I want to play a game for myself, kick back, not be on camera, not be on the mic, and not be streaming or recording a video, just enjoying a game for what it is. That's not to say that I'm going to stop doing Twitch. Funny thing is since I made that announcement, there's been a couple of games where it's like, I could stream this. That would actually be pretty fun. And so I still might do that. And like I said, I still probably will do some streaming, but it isn't going to be anything on a regularly scheduled basis. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, and I will try to also, if you follow me on Twitch as well, you'll get notified. But I will let people know. I always post a little bit ahead of time when I'm going to go live. So if I do decide to go live one weekend or something, you'll be able to find me there on Twitter, or if you follow me on Twitch, you'll know when I do in fact go live. So there are times where Twitch is really fun, and I really do enjoy it. But, with everything else that I'm doing, just something had to give, and that was kind of what I chose to cut back on a little bit. So, Make of that what you will. But the channel itself is, like I said, is not slowing down. As a matter of fact, I have lots of stuff that I want to release and record and all that kind of thing. Now, I did get a comment or two asking about the audio quality on a couple of videos, and I there was one video where I somehow did mess up something in the process of uploading a VR video about a week ago. I don't know what the heck happened, but somehow it lost all of the experience audio. So I did, in fact, remove that video because you lost a lot of what that was going to be because you didn't have any audio. So I apologize for that. I don't know how that sort of happened because it worked when I looked at it earlier. But overall, yes, I will say that there is a little bit of a different audio for my microphone because my Turtle Beach headset that I've been using for the past several years finally broke, which I'm kind of sad about because I really did love that headset. The microphone was really good. I liked the audio quality. It was just a really solid headset. It had a few of its quirks, but I really did love it. Can't really get it anymore, and if I can find it, it's like super expensive because it's not, regularly made. It's back from the PlayStation 3 era days. That's how old that headset is. Hey, but it worked. I do have a hardware review video coming in for my new headset that I'm using right now. It is the Razer Kraken Ultimate, and I have mixed feelings. I'll talk more about it, of course, in the review. It's not bad. I like the audio once you get it figured out. For the most part, it's not bad. The microphone is very, very touchy. Like you have to get it exactly in the right spot, seemingly. Otherwise, yeah, I'll talk about it more in the review. But I don't like it as much as my old headset, for sure. It's a lot more finicky. But I paid good money for it, and so you know what? As long as it works and as long as it isn't horrible, I'm gonna keep rolling with it because hey, you know what? I don't get all this stuff for free. I bought it, I researched it, I tried finding one, and like I said, for the most part, it's not too bad. Just got a few quirks about it that I'm not particularly fond of, but I'll figure out a way around it. So there's that. If you haven't caught up on some recent videos, there's been a few pretty cool ones out lately. I got a Geek Loot spotlight for some cool, I call it my 80s trilogy. Basically, I've got my Knight Rider car, my kit, my Ecto 1, and my DeLorean from Back to the Future. I mean, man, you can't, it's just such cool cars. Gotta love those. And I was getting a lot of questions actually on other video, like I'll leave a comment on other videos, or people I've heard people comment to me on Twitter, or even I think in a few comments on a couple of my videos are like, well, if you say you're blind, how do you do this? Or if you say you're low vision, like how do you use an iPhone? How are you using Twitter? How are you leaving this comment? So I did an updated video about a week ago, and I guess it is technically still Disability Pride Month, so it's a good time to do it. But I did a video on how blind and low vision users use a computer or a smartphone or tablet, and I focus on iOS, but talked about Android as well. Um, a lot of my viewers of the channel will likely know this information already, but again, I geared it more toward I wanted to create a video that I could point other sighted viewers to. People maybe who aren't familiar with blindness or don't really work with anyone who is blind or low vision. Employers, especially, there's still a lot of like I said in the video, one of our biggest barriers is not, oh, that we're blind or that we're low vision. It's that, hey, we're not given the chance. We can and should work. We can and should go to school. We can and should get out of our home and do something every once in a while. I mean, just anything that everyone else would be expected to do. If we want to work from home and whatever, yeah, we have that choice. That's perfect. That's awesome. Um, but there's so much misconception or so much fear or so much whatever you want to call it, um, from the sighted community about what we can or can't do, and usually they're way off base, you know. So I wanted to make a video and show some of that, just to show like, hey, you know, this is how we do it, and you know, if we can do, it might be a little bit different, but it is, we can do the same things that everybody else does for the most part. And I also recently released a video for Kilta. This is a game on Steam. You can play it as a visual game if you are a visual user, but it is fully screen reader accessible as well. It is through it is from My True Sound, I believe, and it is called Kilta, and it is an accessible auto battler. You start your guild, and you're building up your guild kingdom, whatever. You're going out on quests, you're defending things, you're, you know, defeating enemies. You got, you know, you're building up your, choosing who to add to your team, and then sending them out on quests. And you know, it's a neat little thing. You know, I'm not typically into like the turn-based or idle battlers type of thing, but as we're getting more of these types of games on iOS and PC, um, what I'm starting to realize is it's not that I don't really care for RPGs as much. A lot of it has really been the fact that, hey, all these games have a lot of dang text that you have to read. All of your constant menuing and all your dialogue boxes and all your dialogue text and skill trees and inventories and all that crap. You know, if I can make that accessible via text to speech, it's just way more efficient and way easier, for me to play those types of games. So I'm kind of warming up to that genre a little bit more, you know, especially if the games have had, or if they've added more totally blind accessibility, especially like text to speech. So Kilta, it is on Steam, and before anyone asks, no, it is not on iOS yet. I think it could be. I don't know if if they have plans for making an iOS port, but it wouldn't surprise me because I think it could be done. But currently, it is on Steam. Check out the video. And I will also really quickly say that it's not on other platforms right now, like itch.io, because their last PC game they released in that way, as well as Steam, kind of had a little piracy problem, so they lost a whole bunch of sales to that. You know, releasing a game for DRM free, well, DRM free means that you can copy it and, you know, share it freely. And apparently that's what a lot of people did. So they're like, you know what? We don't want to go under. We want to keep making games. We got to support our families too. Um, let's release it on Steam because it's, you know, yes, it's DRM, but it's where we got to do it. But there's that. I've got a couple more, at least one or two more PC accessible games coming in the near future. Got at least a few more iOS accessible games coming. I've got a couple recorded already, and a couple more that I really want to look into yet that I haven't even gotten around to playing. So there are some more accessible games I'm going to be covering on the channel. Couple in particular, one that I'm really looking forward to digging into this weekend. It's just been so busy this week that I bought the game, I installed it, and it's ready. We got Steam up right here. Um, as Dusk Falls. Um, it was, I don't remember when we started hearing about it, but we started hearing about the game more. They did a presentation, or they had a trailer at the Microsoft non E3 Summer of Gaming event last month, and I commented that, hey, this actually looks really pretty good. It's kind of an adventure, Life is Strange, dialogue heavy type of game. But what I didn't know at the time, and they announced fairly recently, is that the game is actually, there are a lot of accessibility features in it, and it is totally blind playable. I have heard from other blind people who have streamed it this week because it is out now. I have not watched them because I really didn't want to have the game spoiled. I wanted to go into the game fresh myself. But rest assured, I will absolutely be playing the game because the plot, I don't remember exactly what the plot is, but it looked intriguing from the trailer. But that aside, I'm looking forward to it in that way. But um, I guess you're able to read the dialogue choices. You're able to read, like, there are a few QuickTime events, but those even speak. So, those are actually accessible. Like, you don't just omit them, but like, hey, they'll tell you what the QuickTime event buttons are. Yeah, I'm just very, very curious to play that game. And if you are wanting to try it for yourself, it is on Game Pass, Xbox Game Pass. I think it might be on PC Game Pass, but I'm not certain on that. That's one area where Microsoft really could do a little bit better. They always say it's on Game Pass, but sometimes it's only on Xbox Game Pass, and there's been one or two things where it's been on PC Game Pass, but not console, and there's sometimes where it's on both, and so you really have to look if you have both platforms, depending on where you want to play it. You really have to look and see. But Game Pass subscribers, you can play as Dusk Falls. It is totally blind accessible. So now we got like The Veil on Xbox. We have As Dusk Falls, and I'm really glad to see Microsoft getting another. And this is not an audio, like, this is not purely an audio game designed for blind people. This is a mainstream game, a mainstream adventure type game that is also blind playable. And that makes me really excited because I'm just hoping that we're going to see more of that. Um, so, yes, I'm going to be doing a video for that. I'm going to be playing it this weekend, hopefully, and getting a video out for that within the next week or so. That's my intent anyway. Very much looking forward to that. Well, then we had a couple of other announcements literally yesterday as I'm recording this. The first one isn't necessarily an accessible game, but I'm still hyped about it nonetheless. Remember, earlier in June, we had Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles Shredder's Revenge. That was my last regular stream. And is a great revival of the classic beat 'em ups or brawlers, whatever you want to call them. Turtles in Time, Turtles the arcade game, all that kind of stuff. It was a great update for that. I really enjoyed it. Picked it up on PC. I also picked it up on the Switch because, yeah, man, you got to have that on a Nintendo, especially a portable platform. But they just announced August 30th, we are also getting Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the Cowabunga collection. Remember, I talked about this in one of my earlier videos when it was announced earlier this year. And I want to say, was it 13 titles? Classic Ninja Turtles games, anywhere from the original NES game, the Turtles arcade game, both NES and the arcade version, Turtles in Time, the NES and arcade version. You've got Turtles 3: The Manhattan Project. You've got like I said, Turtles in Time. You have 3 Game Boy games. I can't remember exactly what all of them are, like Hyperstone Heist and Out of the Sewers or something. I can't remember what they're called, but like 3 of those. And then you get Tournament Fighters, the NES, Super Nintendo, and Genesis version. You get the other Genesis game. It was kind of like Turtles in Time, but it was different. I just went stupid. I can't remember what the name of that one was, but yeah. So we're getting a ton of these classic, like basically all of the really good Ninja Turtles games are coming out, and so I will absolutely be picking that up on the PC and the Switch because, again, these are games that I've loved a lot growing up. So heck yeah, I'm playing them. So we had that announcement, and then there's this little game that you might have heard about. It's called The Last of Us Part 1. Yes, the PlayStation 5 version of The Last of Us Part 1. And when it was announced, and especially as they've announced a few more things lately, the mainstream gaming community has been really down on this particular re-release or remaster, whatever you want to call it. And, on the surface level, I sort of get it because, you came out for the PS3, then you released a PlayStation 4 remaster, which is backwards compatible to the PlayStation 5. So you got the PS3, PS4, it's backwards compatible for the PS5. But now you're going to do another re-release of it for the PlayStation 5 specifically, and you're going to charge $70 for it? Ordinarily, I would agree with people. Like, maybe that's not necessary. Ordinarily, I would agree with you. However, I will absolutely be paying the $70 for it because, unfortunately, there was a leak early yesterday morning, I believe it was. I started seeing some tweets. There were some screenshots of the settings screens that got leaked. Naughty Dog had planned on unveiling it themselves soon, but I guess they got leaked out. And then, the screenshots themselves weren't accessible, so somebody went and basically transcribed the screenshot settings into text tweets so that blind viewers could read them. But we did get confirmation that yes, The Last of Us Part 1 is getting, it seems like most, if not all, of the accessibility features that The Last of Us 2 had. They're getting the magnification, they're getting the high contrast, they're getting the control remappings, assists, navigation assists, text to speech, all of that stuff. And then they're going further. I'm going to play you, then because it got leaked out, Naughty Dog decided to release this 10-minute video on some of the updates that this PlayStation 5 version of The Last of Us Part 1 is going to have. I'm going to play you about a 10-20 second clip of this. I'm not even going to say what it is, but we will discuss in just a moment.
We added award-winning accessibility features.
Every single accessibility option that we offer, that's a barrier removed for someone.
As she surveys the apartment, her eyes wander to Joel. She steps past the couch. He wears the wristwatch Sarah gifted him, which now has a cracked face.
To my knowledge, this is the first PlayStation game that has audio description built into the game, built into the cinematics.
Now it's nighttime. Joel stirs in his sleep.
And that's really the way we've tried to push the frontier of accessibility on this game.
What? Yes, you heard correctly. The Last of Us 2 is going to be the first AAA game to include audio description for its cutscenes. Now, I say AAA game because a couple years ago, there's a little game made by one dude, Sequence Storm, that did have audio description. If you had the text-to-speech on for the career mode and you were playing the blind accessible mode, he did also include text-to-speech audio description for the little cutscene animations and stills that were in the career mode, which surprised the heck out of me when I streamed it. I'm like, oh wow, that is really above and beyond and really cool. But this is, like I said, a AAA game, and I think it is just going to be for cutscenes. I don't necessarily know what's going to be for gameplay. Like, you won't walk into a room and then be able to hit something and say, oh, let me describe what's in this room. I don't know that it's going to go that far, but for any non-control cutscenes, I guess there's going to be audio description, and it sounded like a human narrator. This is not even text-to-speech. This is professional movie level, TV show movie level human narrated audio description. So hell yeah, bring it on. You know what? I played The Last of Us Part 1 when it came out on the PS3. I loved it. It was amazing. The story was just so good. But there were areas where I had trouble, and I literally did have to look up on YouTube, watch someone else play through this. Oh, where am I supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Because the environments were so detailed. that I would overlook something. But between like the low vision, the high, and they showed in that video the high contrast mode. I call it predator vision because you're doing a lot of stealth usually, and it's just so much helps for that for me. You have the text to speech narration, and the navigation assist is, boy, like that. God, I love that. And that is coming to The Last of Us Part 1. And then audio description on top of that. Yes, that is absolutely worth $70. And, if they would release a collector's edition of this, like if they had like a Joel and Ellie statue or something, I would really kind of want that because this is a game that has done so much to further accessibility. And I love the characters, I love the story in both games. I would kind of want that for my collection. I would proudly have a Joel and Ellie statue. Naughty Dog, if you're listening, I would love a Naughty Dog, or I would love a Joel and Ellie statue. I mean, I would even buy it if one were available for like a collector's edition of The Last of Us Part 1, because now a totally blind player this fall, it's starting in September, is going to be, if you can manage to grab a PlayStation 5, they are going to be able to buy The Last of Us Part 1 and The Last of Us Part 2 and now enjoy and play through the entire storyline so far independently without sighted assistance. So, and these games are big. Like The Last of Us 1 was quite big, maybe a little more linear than the second one. But that's not a bad thing, I mean, the story was really good. And then you have The Last of Us Part 2. Um, yeah, I mean, these are big AAA games. They have lots of replayability just because like you can play it on different difficulties. You can spec your characters differently. It's just fun to approach these enemy encounters in different ways. So, I mean, I know a lot of blind players who have played this game like countless times and they've beaten The Last of Us Part 2 on the highest difficulty setting, which bravo. I haven't even had time to even try to attempt that. Um, but yeah, so I'm very excited. You know, is it worth re-releasing another remaster? In my humble opinion, absolutely yes, because I will, even though I've played it already, I will be able to get way more enjoyment out of the first game again due to its accessibility features. And of course, this is that 10-minute video that I linked or that I played that clip from. There's all kinds of other stuff. Of course, you're getting graphical upgrades. You're getting the 3D audio support. So if you get the 3D, you're using the headphones that support the 3D audio. That'll be another immersion thing. That's going to be really fun to play with my 3D. I forget what they're called, but those Sony 3D headphones that came out for the PS5. I've got a pair of those. It's going to be great to play that. It's going to have the DualSense controller support. A couple of examples that they really talked about, which is really neat. They were talking about the shotgun. So like you're not only when like every gun is going to have a different like resistance for when you're pulling the trigger. Like when you're pulling back the bow, it'll start with maybe a little bit of resistance, but the further you pull back, the harder you kind of pull on it because it's like there's more resistance on your bow. And the shotgun, they were talking about like, okay, you're going to get your boom, you're going to get your vibration when you're shooting, but you're also going to be getting like a little vibration when you cock the thing back to reload it. The you're going to have that. I mean, it's subtle, but it just sounds really cool. Like the subtlety of, I mean, when I played Astro's Playroom and just the amount of, I've never, Rumble's always kind of been a gimmick for me. There could be some accessibility uses for it if people would use it more for that way. But, I've never experienced anything like Astro's Playroom and the things that they were doing with the Rumble in that controller, and just the features in general of that controller. I'm glad to see Naughty Dog is taking advantage of that too. Um, very curious to be able to try that. So yes, I am all in. When The Last of Us 2 came out, like I said, I streamed the first like 2-3 hours of it, and then I proceeded to just play the hell out of that thing for the rest of that weekend. I think I beat it in like 2-3 days tops, and I foresee something very similar happening um, to playing this new one because I am going to be just probably hardcoring. I'll get sucked in and I'll be addicted. So yes, The Last of Us Part 1 is confirmed. We are having accessibility features, audio description, and all the stuff that we loved about The Last of Us 2. So huzzah. Um, we're also going to be I know there's going to be some degree of accessibility in God of War Ragnarok. I don't necessarily know what those are going to be. I have a sneaking feeling that I don't know if it's going to go as far as The Last of Us 1 or even The Last of Us 2, but I've read a few things. I wish they would really release the information on the accessibility features because last week they did just announce like a couple of really cool looking, but probably rather expensive. I didn't even look at the prices, but I'm guessing they're going to be at least over couple $100 probably. But these really big collector's editions of God of War, and they come with these like big collectible, like big old hammer that look pretty neat. Um, if people wanted to support that and have a collector's edition, it would be nice to know that in fact that hey, I have a disability. Can I play this game? Can I get excited? Can I, if I want to, support this by buying a collector's edition if I really wanted those goodies? Um, I mean, they've acknowledged that there will be some accessibility features, but they haven't like said everything yet. But reading into it, what I've read so far, what little bit I've seen so far, it looks like we may have some text to speech. We may have some form of navigation assist, but again, don't quote me on any of this, but I will say that there is potential for another Sony game, big Sony game, this fall that might be playable by blind players. So yeah, it is an exciting time. I thought that 2022 was going to be kind of a slow year, with all the COVID delays and just a lot of things getting delayed. But between indie games and a few great accessible titles here coming out, there's a lot of stuff happening. I mean, look at Vampire Survivors earlier this year. That $2-3 game came out of nowhere and had me hooked for weeks. Power Wash Simulator just came out in version 1.0. That game is seeing me through some troubling times, I'll tell you. It's been a nice, relaxing. Just that game is just like it sounds kind of dumb, but you know what? That game is oddly satisfying, and I unapologetically really enjoy that game. So that came out fully, which is also on Game Pass, by the way. Since it came out on 1.0, Power Wash Simulator is on Xbox Game Pass. So I'm just saying, you want to try it for yourself. You were warned. You may get hooked on it. But then there's just like a lot of these little, I can't even remember. There's just all these little indie games, the Anacrusis. There's tons of these little, like retro, boomer shooters as people call them. Look at all the stuff I covered for Steam Next Fest this summer when I got back from vacation. I didn't even go into the other genres that were in Steam Next Fest because there were so damn many retro shooters that I was interested in. And all of them, it's not just, oh, here's another retro shooter, yay. It's all of these retro shooters, they have unique aspects about them, and they're all really fun in their own way. So if you liked games like Doom and Wolfenstein and Quake and Duke Nukem 3D and all those era games, I mean, you're going to have lots of stuff you already do have lots of stuff to play and you're going to have even more. I mean, look, Metal Hellsinger, that game is also coming in September. That game is going to be badass. I mean, man, I suck at the demo, um, but when it fully comes out, I fully intend to invest some time in getting better at that game because, ooh boy, that game it looks and plays and it's just it's really good. So yeah, there's a lot of stuff. Microsoft. I'm really glad to see Microsoft getting a mainstream game finally that is totally blind playable. Like the weird thing is Microsoft has been close. They've had several games in the last couple of years that have had like text to speech in them. Anything from a couple of the Forza games to like Age of Empires. I mean, that was like if you can have low vision and you want to play a real-time strategy game. I covered that game a while back. That was nuts that they actually kind of made that work. But like Forza, I know Crackdown 3 had some text to speech. Minecraft Dungeons was actually, again, you need some vision to navigate it, but if you're low vision and just, Halo Infinite, both Halo Infinite and Minecraft Dungeons, when you're walking around the world, you get a weapon or an item pickup on the ground. When you walk over it, before you pick it up, it'll tell you, oh, here's an apple, or oh, here's a needler gun, or whatever it is you're going to be picking up. Those are really nice quality of life accessibility features. And that's great, but there is more to blind accessibility than text to speech. So yeah, Microsoft has really been out there just touting like, "Hey, we're accessible. We're for everybody." Well, that's great, um, but I'm really glad to finally see a game that is fully blind playable. Because while we've been close, you know, Forza Horizon 5, yeah, you can play it, but you don't have a lot of free control driving your car. Whether you're racing or there's some stuff, you have to wait to get the Anna navigation assist thing, and even then there's some stuff missing with that. So it's not perfect, but they're making progress. But I'm glad to see that we get a mainstream game on Microsoft side because Sony is starting to kill it. Um, I know Ratchet and Clank really wasn't blind accessible, but they did have a lot of nice accessibility features in it. But you've got The Last of Us, both games now. Hopefully, God of War, in addition to your fighters and stuff like that. So, yeah, it is a good time. I mean, it is frustrating. You hear about all these games, and you wonder, can I even get excited? Can I be able to play them? And I'm hopefully that is going to be the answer to that is going to be yes more often going forward, but we will see. That is what I wanted to cover in today's video. Really just wanted to talk about The Last of Us and As Dusk Falls because I'm going to play that As Dusk Falls. I'm going to play that this weekend, some for sure. And then, wanted to let you guys know about The Last of Us Part 1. You may want to, if you don't have one already, you may want to think about looking into a PlayStation 5 because stuff is starting to happen. So hope you guys enjoyed the video. Give it a like if you did. Follow me on Twitter at BGFH79, twitch.tv/illegally-cited, illegally-cited.com, and right here on YouTube. So until next time, I will chat with everybody again later.